Well, I sure hope the thumbnail looked good when you clicked on this video, because this old Craftsman is in rough shape. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kyle. The channel is called Kyle by the Creek. And like I said in the intro, I have this old beat up Craftsman tractor behind me. It's a 1999 Craftsman with a 20 horsepower V-twin. It's got a 46-inch mowing deck. I actually don't know what you call this tractor, what model it is. Is it a GT? It's a 917-272-140 model, and whatever that is, that's what I have. Mixed matched rims on the tires. You like that? It has no seat. Yeah, this is how I got it. I bought this in a bundle deal, and I did try one thing before I turned on the camera. I do know that the engine will spin over if you put some juice to the starter, but that's all I know. So it's missing the positive cable running from the solenoid to the starter, so there's no way the key switch works, but the engine does spin over. And oh, and it did fire off, so I do know a little bit. It fired off on spray, sounded like one cylinder though, so we'll see what this thing is. Wait until you see how this engine looks when I lift up the hood. Yeah, yuck. So everything is loose. This is how I got it. Yep. I mean, that's actually a good thing that that's in there like that, but I guess not so bad for a mouse nest. It's a little packed in that fin, but a little bit over here. But yeah, that's what we have. No positive cable running. This goes to the battery, but we'll need to get a cable running from here to the starter. Gas tank is back here. Let's see, part of the fuel gauge is down in there. Yeah, you can actually see that. So probably gonna want to get to this tank. It's empty, which is nice, but it doesn't smell good, and part of the fuel gauge is down in there, rusted off likely. So yeah, this thing is, oh, here's a ground. Okay, this thing is rough, huh? The hood is a little jacked up, doesn't seem like it wants to sit exactly right. Oh, maybe it was just because there was so much engine shroud on top. Nice little tow hook here. That's kind of cool. I mean, overall, it's not that bad. Like, as far as green paint goes, like, check it out. It's not terrible. The tires are pretty rough though. This one always goes down, this one always goes down. But maybe we can repair that without doing tubes. I don't like that yellow rim. We're gonna have to fix that. All right, still, oh, and here's the 46-inch deck, which actually looks okay. This is really solid, and I think we can wire wheel that up, no problem. We're missing the two front brackets here, but I should be able to source those. We have some nice big gator blades. Things seem to move, as you could tell. You know, as far as the deck goes, I think that's pretty sweet. So yeah, I bought it for a reason. I always think that I can fix it, so that's why I bought it. All right, let's see what the engine does. Let's hook some power up to it, see if we can get it to fire off. All right, I ran out of carb spray, so we're just using a little bit of gasoline. Try to position that far away from the sparks here. All right, we got mid-throttle, choke, key is on. Let's get the jump pack going. Let's see what happens. Okay, there was a little bit of a weird sound in there, but she wants to run. Put a bunch in there. All right, if I can get some fuel going, you know, we'll be able to tell here. All right, that exhaust is warm. That exhaust is warm. All right, we are running on 2 cylinders. That is way better than I thought. We're off to a good start, actually. I got our intake covered up. It's starting to drizzle because it's Saturday. That's what it does. And I think what I'm gonna do right away is just get this fender off, get access to that gas tank, because I bet this thing will run just fine. I mean, maybe it needs a carb clean or something, but it wants to run. So let's get our fuel system sorted out here. Oh, you know what else we're gonna need to do? All new fuel lines. These could not get any harder. And that's the kind that runs, you know, you really have to get access to the tank to do that. So we might as well do that right on the onset here. All right, why am I not working inside? It's starting to rain now. It's a ground wire that goes right there. Just remember that, Kyle. Our fuel line, you see that? The fuel line wasn't even hooked up. What are the chances we have a good grommet still? Oh, we do. It's got just a nipple on it. Nice. Goodies in the tank. Let's see if we can get anything to come out of here. There we go. There. Got it.
Dad, every time I bend one and pick it up, it's always warm.
The coins that you're beating up with a hammer?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're hitting them with a hammer. Nice safety glasses. Dude is safe. Got a rubber glove. That bag is on the inside, and some painter's tape around the intake. All right, let's get this thing cleaned up. Yeah, our tires are a bit dry rotted, aren't they? We're in the shed after the power wash. This thing was pretty dirty. Took a lot to get this trans clear. There's a lot of grooves in there. But you can see our fuel line here. Gonna be pulling all this off. Clumps of dirt are falling down on the ground still. We'll just snake this line through, replace this whole thing. Yeah, it's looking pretty good though. Got the tank all flushed out. It's pretty much dry in there, if you can see. But we'll keep blowing it out with compressed air just to dry it out. We'll put a little bit of gas in there, slush it around, see if we can get any last bit of moisture out before we hook this up. But yeah, this is the first thing we're doing. We're gonna do fuel lines, hook the tank back up, and then we'll try to start it again. Well, there's the pretty lengthy piece of fuel line. So hard the bends don't even come out of it. And we'll replace all of this stuff too. The fuel is just really stinky, and this is like clear tubing. That's not ideal. So we'll replace every piece of fuel line here. Shouldn't be a problem. I like to keep these big spools of fuel line. So you got 1/4 inch inside diameter by 25 feet. This is brand new, so we got 25 feet here. All right, just about ready to put on the gas tank, and Can you see this massive crack? Look at how split this is, all the way from here to here. This thing was actually bulging outward. I just knocked it in. I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe it expanded, like the vent cap didn't work. Well, that's interesting. And the fumes expanded and blew this thing out. I don't really know. This is a pretty unique gas can. I'm gonna look up eBay real quick just to see what's out there. I know a lot of you are saying, oh, JB Weld it. Guys, you know, you really shouldn't use JB Weld on gasoline. If JB Weld is touching gasoline, the JB Weld is gonna rot away. It's gonna get eaten up. Might not happen right away, but it's gonna happen. Even oil will get it eventually. It is not the permanent fix. There is a way to fix this, although this is quite a big crack. I mean, I don't think this plastic is seeing much stress, so it really shouldn't be a big deal. Like, I don't think the crack is going to continue. But if I melt gas can plastic over top of this and really work it into the crack, that's the solution. I did that to my plastic tank on my quad, and no problems. And there's no way that plastic is getting eaten away by the gasoline like pretty much every other product you could try to apply. So yeah, I'm gonna look on eBay real quick just to see, and if not, we'll try to look into repairing this thing. So I looked it up, and they make replacement tanks for like $52, and that's on Amazon, and that could get delivered in the next day or two. So I'm probably gonna go with that. But before I hit purchase, rigging up a tank here, we're just doing fuel line. It actually is going through the pump. I had the fuel on and it was flooding a lot, so right now I have the fuel off. There's probably plenty of gas in there, but yeah, let's see if it runs first and then we'll go ahead and start purchasing some things. We got water and fuel just coming out of the muffler right now. Look what just came out of the muffler. Yeah, it smells like fuel. So that just immediately flooded. Alright, I'm gonna turn the key switch off so we're not sparking, but let's see if we can flush some of this out. And it was just running there. I really don't want that to heat up that much. That was kind of crazy. I was not expecting it to fire off like that. I had the key off. I actually have the fuel line disconnected now, just in case there's still some fuel in there. Let's try this again. It is running pretty good. Alright, I'm going to cautiously hook the fuel back up here. Like nothing kills it. Oh, running on one cylinder. Ow. Well, that shocks me. Well, it runs great. I think we should probably go ahead and buy that gas tank. Apparently this thing isn't much for safety because you can just, you don't need anything for this. Something's making a bit of noise, but I think it's actually one of the pulleys underneath. Oh, maybe not. The trans is whining a little bit. It hasn't run in forever. Seems to work well. That's the next day, and that gas tank should actually arrive today. That's what Amazon says. So that'd be amazing, but I think that gives us a chance to work on this mowing deck. You can see where the belt has been sitting on these pulleys. You know, they get rust seized. But everything spins really nicely here. Seems quiet. You have kind of a complicated belt pattern. So you have two belts. Let me just point that out. This one would go to the PTO. You have these two. This is like spring loaded. So is this one. But this belt rides on top. This is like a double stack here. And then you have an interesting design underneath. So let me get the top belt off and then we'll look closely. The top belt is off. Same with the belt guides. You can see this pattern a little bit better. This one's pretty odd because it really just splits the post that has this side. Ooh, that's a little noisy. I guess it'll be a good chance to check all these. Might rebuild that one. But you can see all the spring tension here. So, all right, let's see if we can get this off without pinching our fingers. There we go. And the two belts are different size. The bottom one is like the 1/2 inch belt, and then the 5/8 belt is on top. But both belts look great shape, so I don't think we need to replace any of those. Not terrible. All of these are perfectly smooth. Wow. Lucked out on that. Even that one's not bad. Yeah, I hear nothing there. That's noisy. This one's a little noisy. This one seems to be noisy on all the decks that I've been working on lately. This is the flat pulley, not the V. And I don't know, maybe just sitting on top like that. Maybe get some water in it. But this one looks to be like that, well, just like the last video I did. Hard to get the bearing seal out. It's almost like you want to replace the whole pulley. I don't know why they design it like that. Yeah, I think that just broke off. That's pretty rusty. That one broke too. Oh, we got one of these flipper bugs. Let's see if it does the flip. Well, he's a little bit little dazed. Sorry, dude. Come on, do the flip. Come on. Don't be shy. Do it. Yeah! Just took the blades off. Check out how nice these are. They're perfectly straight. Just a little bit worn. But these are in, still see a little bit of the sticker on this. Pretty new blades. Well, I want to work at repacking these with grease, and just got back from Tractor Supply, and I needed one of these for the last video I made, a grease coupler with a needle. Hopefully you can see that. And what I'm hoping to do is just get in under there, under the seal, and then pump it full of grease. This should just connect right up to the quick connect on my grease gun. Alright, I experimented with this smaller pulley. It's yeah, it works. So I don't know again if I'm doing this correctly, but able to get the needle in, give it some pumps, and you know, a lot of grease squirts out of wherever you punctured, but I'm not really puncturing, I'm just kind of slipping underneath the seal. That one didn't work. The tip of the needle bent already, so that's kind of cool. You can bend it back though. Yeah. Let's try that again. There we go. Just comes out, squirts everywhere. Not a very efficient use of grease, but we're getting some grease in there. I'll tell you what, it's a million times better already. You're mostly hearing my gloves make noise. Yeah, there's no noise there. I do like that method. I mean, at least you're not ripping up the seal, and whatever you do lift up, you could just push it back down. So at least that seal's still in good shape. I'll see if I can get a little bit on this underside. Well, I just finished sharpening the blades, and we're still waiting for that rusty metal primer to dry underneath the deck. So might as well start paying attention to the tires here. I have a good tire that's been holding air for probably years, sitting under some tarps. It's the right size, the wrong tread, but we're going to throw it on the machine here and see how it looks. It's looking pretty rusty. We'll see if we can get this wheel off. Yeah, great. It's on there a bit. So it's time to start painting this thing. I'm gonna go with flat black on this. I usually use semi-gloss, but I'm not gonna make this tractor look particularly pretty. So I figured we'll just go with flat black, and if I don't like the way it looks, I can always change it. I think this is gonna look fine. Yeah, that's gonna look nice. Now, all it ever does in Connecticut is rain, and I'm having a space issue. All right, for some reason I bought a quad yesterday. My son's been really enjoying riding my 1997 Quadrunner 250, so I bought another 1997 Quadrunner 250. It's supposed to be running. Well, it does run, but it needed some work. Needed valve adjustments, needed the water cleaned out of the gas tank, a couple carb cleans, a couple different spark plugs. But yeah, let me set it up. I'll show you that it fires up. Some LEDs in. 4x4 works. Not a bad little beater quad. Alright, we got the tractor back in the shed. And here's our old gas tank. The big crack in it. Here we go. New gas tank. $50. Delivered the next day. I mean, to me, that beats trying to repair that gas tank, and that's really not that bad. Yeah. Let's get this reinstalled. So we want to remember there's a ground on this side. Let's see if it fires with its own fuel now. I did hook up all the electrical, so I should be able to use the key switch. Nice. Getting fuel. Should pop off now. Just got to get the battery jumper to stay going. I just solved the kill issue. I had some wires unplugged. We got the fender all installed here, and I actually do have a seat for this thing. This was in my stash. Actually, I acquired it about 2 weeks ago. One of my neighbors, a tree fell on their shed. There were 2 nice tractors in there, and they put them up for free on Marketplace, and I was able to grab the lesser of the 2. The Husqvarna went quick. But I got an old Craftsman that had a good battery, a good engine, I hope, a good seat. It was just all smashed up. So, yeah, now we have a seat. I have the seat safety bypass because there's no switch on the seat. And I have everything back now as far as like kill, that works now. The brake safety works. So, like you can't start it without stepping on the brake. You could tell there, but it was kind of weak going up the hill, and that's kind of a rough sign because it's a hydro and the belt looks great, so I might need to check the fluid level in the transmission. But yeah, the engine's running great. Oh, and the PTO works. Great too. That means we'll be mowing here, but yeah, if this transmission's no good, that's going to be a problem. Well, back in the shed with the fender back off, just looking at the transmission here, you know, I can fill it at least that way. I don't see any drain, but I can fill it with some hydraulic fluid. And then Google says to prop up the back end, disengage the hydro, and run forward and reverse several times to purge any air. So I guess we could try that. Alright, finally rigged up some sort of funnel system. It's hard to get the oil in there, but it's taken lots of it. Making a huge mess one-handed here, but I'm just letting it burp its way in. Oh, might have finally slowed down. I did this probably 3 or 4 times already. But I'll just... Yeah, you can see bubble. There you go. So you just keep moving it. yeah, it's taking it, so we'll just keep filling it. Well, I just came back from a ride. It's still burning off some oil from the heads. Gotta keep an eye on that, but it's much better, if not solved. It's not the fastest machine, but it's no longer, you know, bogging down or seeming like it's slipping while climbing the hills. So I'll have to show you it later, but I think it's good enough to go ahead and put this mowing deck on. And it's the next day. The weather has not been very cooperative again, and so I did a lot of this reassembly without filming, but just another chance to look at the belt routing design here. I had to go back in my own footage to remember how this went together. So I'll just take a look at the top belt. Bottom belt is pretty interesting. And a straight shot in the back. But this front design going all the way around this, you're mostly around this pulley. That grabs a lot. Anyway, kind of tricky stuff. I found some deck hangers. I had them in my stash. Hopefully they're the right size, so let's get this thing installed. Before I put the engine shroud on, I'm gonna clean that carburetor because I think it floods still. But got the deck on, everything's hooked up. Those front deck mount hangers, those work perfectly. We're nice and level. Let's give it its first test run. See if it mows. See, it's flooding. That's weird. Sometimes it does that. Could keep up, it would mow. Let's try that. Oh, there we go. Well, to me it sounds like a carb issue, and we've had some flooding problems, but I think we owe this thing a carb clean. But functionally, yes, the mowing deck works. I got some of these screws loose, but I have not peeked. I have a feeling everything's going to look pretty good, but just might need to clean the needle and seat specifically. Oh, that's terrible. Whoa. That is way rusted. Wow. That's crazy. How did this thing run? Wow, that's nuts. Alright, I'm going to use penetrating oil. I hope we can get this thing to bounce back. Okay, that came loose. That's good. What a mess. I swapped out the bowl instead of using this crusty one, and I cleaned it best I could. I don't want to use it. I had another one lying around. Just put the solenoid on it. The main body of the carb is clean. You can see through all these ports. That should work perfectly, hopefully. I got to clean off this float and reassemble. We're reinstalled here. Let's give it a try. No crank. Yeah, we gotta figure out why it's not cranking, but I just jumped the solenoid. Runs good. Can't seem to get this wheel off. It's really seized onto the axle, and I don't have one of those harmonic balance pullers or steering wheel pullers. I need to get one probably just for this. I mean, I'm sure I'll use it a lot once I have it, but heat and banging on it isn't doing it. So since I'm out here with the jack, I'm gonna replace this yellow wheel right now, and that will at least get me part of the way there, with the tires at least. Then I got to figure out why this thing isn't quite running right, and I have sort of a theory that it might be spark related, so might get into that with changing out spark plugs or changing out coils and seeing what happens. So I swapped out the spark plugs, same result, but as you can see I have the valve cover off, and yeah. So we have probably valve issues is really what it is. I kind of thought it might be spark, just because, I don't know, it seemed like when it was getting a load on, it just wasn't able to keep up with it. But that could be a number of things, as you guys know. Valves certainly could be one of them. The coil, the spark plugs. Yeah, I was experiencing a flooding issue before. So there's a lot of things that it could be. So let's pop the other valve cover off, and we'll see if we have some valves that need to be tightened up on that side too. Wow, it's running terribly now. I adjusted all the valves. I even did a governor adjustment, and for a minute things were running good. But now it's acting like it's choking out. It's just really weird, and it won't throttle up most of the time. Every once in a while you can get it to kind of clear up. Yeah, but nah, it's doing nothing now. And I really don't think that's governor. I think the governor is fine. Seems to be fuel. So I'm probably going to take that carb apart again. It's governor. wanted to see what would happen if I took that top plate off. Apparently it keeps running, and then all of a sudden it cleared up. I got to screw it back on because you can hear the air leak and it would surge, but now it's running good. I don't get it. But that just shows you why I think this is a really weird issue. Like, it's not the governor, it's something else. All right, well, let's see what happens when I drive. It's running good now. Looks like I got flat tires again. But this is the real test. Let's engage the blades. Yeah. See? And now it's going to run like crap. That's full throttle. And then it just won't recover. That's really weird, guys. So this is gonna feel like we're jumping around a little bit. Let me tell you a little story. Yesterday I didn't have my GoPro. It was in my wife's car, whatever. I tried to film a little bit with my phone. It was so hot yesterday too, and I wanted to make some progress on this. So some of this I didn't really film, guys. I got the engine put back together. I put a different carburetor on it, and that solved my issues. And you know, that's not too exciting to film anyway, but I cleaned that original carb 2 times at least, and it still had a weird bogging issue, which I'm pretty sure I captured some of that. I slapped a different carb on and it runs perfectly now. So much so where I put the engine all the way back together, including the heat shield, the hood. I got light bulbs in there now. So like, we are really close to being done now. And sorry if that feels like a shock, like we're just jumping into this thing now. But yeah, I mean, I still have to do a service on the engine. It needs oil and a filter. And I do have to still figure out these, this tire, I can just do automatic transmission fluid. This one I might try automatic transmission fluid because I can't get that wheel off. A couple different things I could do. I could put a tube in there, and I'm sort of leaning towards that, although I can't get the rim off. I could try to break the bead on the rubber in the rim, slip a tube in, be done with it, right? To me that seems doable. I might get a harmonic balancer, you know, steering wheel puller type of tool, which I don't have. I'm a little back and forth about getting that because one, whatever, I don't own it. I have to go buy it. 2, I just have a feeling I'm gonna break something because that's a lot, whatever. It's just, I'm a little worried about breaking something on the axle or the rim and being kind of out of luck there. Or 3 is using automatic transmission fluid. So we're still, I know, we're hemming and hawing a lot about that wheel, but we'll get there. But yeah, let me show you guys how this runs now. I'm gonna try it without choke, just kind of low throttle right now. There's your idle. How about that? Let's do full throttle. Test. thing seriously came all the way back, guys. We just have some tires to worry about now. Oh, and I got this cover for my stash. Yeah, I got that cover for my stash. That was not a part of the plastics when I got this thing. So, I mean, the deck sounds amazing. The transmission works perfectly. Engine is absolutely great. Right where I want it to be. And, you know, right now it's just all dirty. We got to clean it up. But like, everything's here. It's not a bad looking tractor. That's not too bad. I would totally use this thing. It's, you know, 46-inch deck. It's pretty nice. Before I do the oil change here, I'm just trying to remember some of the other things I did to it. I went to a 3-post solenoid. I was having trouble with the key start. I think ultimately it was just the trigger wire was loose. But I had swapped out a couple solenoids. It was a 4-post. We're now with a 3-post. Doesn't really matter. That's the one that's on there and it's working great. So we're going to stick with that. But yeah, let's get an oil change done on this thing. It's filling up, huh? Wow. All right, let's go get rid of that. Watch it have like nothing left in it. Probably could have made it. Yep, that's all right. Just trying to think of other things I did. I did put a brand new air filter on there, and I did put a new vacuum hose. Let's see if I can show you. The one that's on top of the valve cover there. That one had a crack in it, the original one, so that's a brand new one. So yeah, you know, we have the fuel filters new, all new fuel lines, air filter, vacuum hose. Gonna give it an oil change, got a new oil filter for it. Hydro fluid is topped off. Deck has been painted and underpainted. Bearings greased that needed it. Got a halfway decent battery on there. Yeah, it's not bad. We gave this thing pretty good service here. Well, it was about 100 degrees today and it's finally evening. Sun's starting to go down. It's a lot more tolerable out here. Look, you can see the whole backyard is in shade. So we're gonna give it a good mow. Gonna really test this thing out. I have to say, I love the way this thing runs and cuts, but I also have to let you know, I'm not really that excited about this transmission. It's getting a little sluggish here as it heats up. And at first I thought it was the tire going flat, because the tire is still going flat. But I just filled it up and it's the same thing. It's becoming a dog on the hills. Even just a little bit of an incline. So that's a problem. I don't like that. And it's kind of unfortunate because this thing is just running and cutting so well. I don't know if you can see. But let me see if I can show you on the hills here. Firing up. So that's like full throttle for do some hills up here. See, look at that. It's struggling. Down is just fine. We'll do a little hill up here. This whole thing is a hill. It's gonna really struggle right here. See? Oh, it's not even doing it. Yeah. I just barely did it. Yep, so that's a bit of a problem. So I got no lights in there. I run an extension cord to the house. That's how I do my lights. But yeah, I took the extension cord down to off the ground just to do the mowing. But yeah, it's you can see it does a nice job. Sorry for all the street noise again. They're finally going to be laying some pavement, I think, tonight. They milled our main road here a couple weeks ago, and then they just left it milled with all these huge obstacles, including getting in and out of the driveway. That was like 3 weeks of that. So hopefully they'll actually put some pavement down. All right, I got to think about what to do here. I mean, I'd even consider putting in a transmission. I'm gonna go see if I have a hydrostatic transmission lying around. All right, down by the creek. Huh. So does the blown engine giveth again? We got a hydro. Man, I think that's gonna work. I mean, this is the sort of thing you want, right? This is a blown engine, right? So it means the hydro's probably still good. Okay, that's at least probably the most viable option. I'm gonna just check the shed inside. You can come with me. It's looking pretty sparse in here. I've sold a lot of things. I still have 2 lawnmowers in here, and the black Craftsman, the AYP Craftsman, that one's still here, hasn't sold yet. But yeah, transmissions lying around here somewhere. That's a hydro. All right, maybe I could pull that up and just see how that lines up. Well, tell you what, this is actually looking like the same exact transmission. Even has the same sticker right here. Wow. Okay, well, we might have some options, guys. I can't believe the twists and turns of this project. If we're going to be doing a transmission swap, after all this. This is kind of crazy. But anything to get it sold correctly, right? I mean, right, it's totally worth it to swap out the trans for a couple reasons. One, because I can't get that wheel off the axle. That's driving me nuts. And then I can at least put some good rear tires on. And two, you'd hate for someone to mow their lawn and be like, dude, after half an hour it heats up and I can't do my hills. You know, that is irresponsible of me to sell that pretending like everything works properly. So this is why you test things. You got to try, got to push it a little bit and see what the flaws are and try to make them right. But I think this is the correct transmission, actually. I'm gonna go with this first. Well, it's the next day, and let's get this thing prepped for transmission removal and a hopeful installation here. I'm gonna get the mowing deck off first. I could probably do the job without removing the deck, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do that, get it out of my way. It'll be a lot easier to deal with belts and stuff like that. So linkages too. So it just took me a couple minutes there to take the full fender off, the gas tank, all that, just so we could have access to both sides. And everything I'm seeing right now looks like an identical transmission. I mean, I don't do, you guys know if you follow my channel, I don't do much with transmissions. I did one transmission swap on a Cub Cadet in the fall, and like that was like the first, you know, big project I did with the transmission. I'm just not usually doing these. So I'm a little surprised things are looking as good as they do. I think this is going to line up perfectly. You can see our linkage there. We have the disengagement, our fill. Alright, that's got to be our shifter. Yeah. Yep, so that looks good. Yeah, everything's here. It's just gonna bolt up, I believe, perfectly. I'm saying all that too soon, right? But things look very good. Let's get started. We'll put it up on the hoist a bit here and start undoing the bolts that hold the whole axle onto the frame. Okay, I have some actual gear oil, 80 W90, and this is the transmission I'm going to be putting in. And this thing had oil almost all the way up to the top. I'm just sort of topping it off. Really wonder if that other transmission was just sort of run low on oil too long, and it just became worn out, you know. Do my best to try to film as much of this as I can. So this is the speed control lever. I got that loose. I'm going to put this bolt back in here. I have the brake. Just took the clip out of the brake so that this rod should be able to come right on out. We have a bracket. Bracket that is like holds the transmission on. Seems to be another 1/2 inch down here. Yeah, it's on there pretty good. So I'll see if I can get that off. I can get my impact with an extension down through here between the fins, and then I just have to hold a 1/2 inch wrench underneath on the bolt head, and we'll get that off. There's another 1/2 inch bolt on the top. Let me get that. Yeah. All right, it would be easier to remove the wheel to get the axle unbolted from the frame, but as you know, that's what we're struggling with here. But I think with an extension I can get down in there. Yeah. That's one. There's two. Three. I think we got it. It's this part here, the brake, that's hanging me up the most here. Oh, I still got, whoops, I have the hydro disengagement. Oh, okay, I guess that's out now. Crashing into the camera. I think we're free. Not the most glamorous removal. She's out. Yeah, so I just have every bolt in for the most part. I just left them all loose, but just sort of one at a time lifted the transmission up and put in a nut and a bolt. I put this brake thing in first, so got the transmission in, threaded that, well, just, you know, put it through the hole there. It's not threaded. And then just did like an axle bolt and then another one in the front bracket, the other front bracket, and right now everything just needs to be snugged up, and I have to do this this linkage. I haven't done that yet, so we'll do that next. Put the clip back in here, and then we got to look for matching tires. Okay guys, we are all hooked back up. Hydro release, spring, shifter linkage, all the support bolts. I wire wheeled the axle here. We'll do some grease on that too. All right, let's go hunting. I know we have one wheel because I was thinking of putting an oddball wheel on this set. Let me go see if I can find the other one that matches that, and then we'll have some matching rear tires. Down here by the tire pile, I don't really have anything. I mean, I have some 20 by 8 by 10s, but they look like this. And then everything else I have is 20 by 8 by 8. Or it's got the notched like MTD wheel, not just like the straight shaft with a keyway. I was hoping to really avoid buying tubes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to avoid it. I mean, I have one here with, and it's already, the bead is already broken, so could get a tube in there. I mean, I wonder if that other wheel on the axle I just removed will come off, because that one holds air. And then at least this is the same tread, and we could throw a tube in pretty easy. All right, wouldn't you know it? The good tire came right off. So I could go out to Tractor Supply and get a tube for this, and then the tread would match. Or, this is a 8 by 10 by 8, and I could just put that on. The tread would not match, but I know this is a good tire. It's been holding forever. I think I'm just going to do that. And now all we lack is finishing up. We have the mixed match tires on there. Well, I'm pretty happy with it. You can hardly tell from here. They're both white rims, so that is fine with me. All right, let me throw all these pieces back together. We got to test run this thing. Okay, before I install the deck, I want to start this up and see if it moves. I have everything else installed. You know, the gas tank's hooked up, fenders all installed, all that good stuff. All right, let's cross our fingers here. Oh yeah. That's awesome. All right, we have a working trans. Let's hope it holds up to some heat and can still do hills, but let's get this mowing deck put back on. And the deck is installed. All right, we're gonna go torture this thing on some hills, see what it can do. I just mowed all this down here, and guys, this thing is a beast. One time, you can see my stripe, I went up the big hill there and it hardly even slowed down. And this is after mowing in the heat. Again, it's like 94, 95 degrees today, so the trans is good and hot now. All right, I'm gonna show you, maybe I'll do it a couple different angles so that you can see this really good, but you can see that slope from here. That is some extreme mowing. This is one of my hills that, you know, it's like a benchmark for me and these mowers. If it can do it, this thing can definitely do it. And I tell you what, this is one of the better hydros I've had to do the hills. I've actually had really good luck with the variable drives doing the hills. Obviously, like a gear shift, you know, as long as you have traction, it's going to do the hills. But I find the like MTD variable drives, if they're working right, they really go up the hill well. My own machine for mowing is an older like 2000s hydro, and when it gets hot at the end of a mow, I can't do the hill anymore, but at the beginning I can. I have a feeling this thing is even better than my own personal mower, so that says something. But let's give you guys a little demonstration here. I'll show you how it goes up. I'll have the blades engaged too, just so we're doing like full load. Well, finally, guys, this thing has passed my test. You know, I really didn't want to sell it unless it operated like that. I really couldn't be happier with this thing at the moment. I'm even willing to use this to mow my lawn instead of mine. I have a 46-inch deck. I like that size for my lawn, and you know, if this was foot control, you know how much I like the foot control hydro. But even my mower is a stick control. But yeah, we got the tires in a good place. We got a wonderful transmission tested. Engine has not skipped a beat since I put that carburetor on it and adjusted the valves, you know, put new spark plugs in. It's just as happy as can be. Mowing deck is nice and quiet. This thing needs to be cleaned. Let's give it a power wash. Just finished with the pressure wash, and you guys aren't going to believe this. Yeah, I had the fender off again. I was trying to adjust the brake because it didn't really have a brake. And I don't know, I just pressed on the pedal. It braked for the first time, and then I released the pedal, and then the drive belt broke. So I guess that was on its way out. Oh man, we're just not done with this thing yet. New drive belt installed. Well, it's a used drive belt, but it has zero wear on it. As you can see, it's in perfect condition, and it was the right length. And a little bit of finagling, I took this PTO brace bracket off, and then I was able to get the drive belt up onto that pulley. I had to undo the electrical harness for the PTO as well. I just didn't want to risk taking this thing off. I just didn't want to remove the PTO, so I did it this way. And then I was able to do everything else by hand, not a problem. I even left the gas tank on. Okay guys, do you think this thing is done with me? Is it gonna let me finish this project up? I hope so. We do have brakes now. That's great. So just a 9/16 wrench on a nut in behind this wheel, and tighten that down. Give a little bit more pressure on that brake pad. That's worn after all these years. Last little finishing touch. I think I told you I did this throttle knob here. Was missing that. That was bothering me. So I got that on there, and the steering wheel was not straight at all. And this little thing, you can knock this out of the steering wheel. This is really what you want to do. So that's what you can see, notches onto the shaft here, and then you can figure out the position of that and get this thing straight. And one other finishing touch, I put a muffler guard on it, and I left this tow hook. I like that, and it fit right between the slot. This guard was missing before, so I stole that off the parts tractor. And no, I'm not going to paint it. I'm just going to polish this up the way that it is. So let's get a little ATF, and we'll wipe this thing down and make it shine. This old thing shaped up pretty good, didn't it? A wipe down went a long way on this thing. I mean, I know it's not always going to look this shiny, but even to know that it can once, it's kind of nice to see it in its glory. fighting a big glare here. A lot of times I take my pictures in the shade just so you don't have this sun, but I wanted you guys to be able to see it a little better. So I was debating whether to wipe down the deck because it's the flat black, but I started to, actually I didn't use ATF, I used Marvel Mystery Oil this time, but I got the Marvel Mystery Oil on the deck during the time lapse. I was like, you know what, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we just went with it. Man. Man, what a nice mower. Well, it's nice to get out of the sun in the shade by the creek. It's a little bit cooler. These last couple of days in Connecticut have been 95, 96. I think we got up to 100 the other day. So it's been kind of brutal working outside. But hope you guys enjoyed this Craftsman project. This was a 1999 Craftsman and it had a 46-inch mowing deck, had a 20 horsepower V-twin. But this thing was sort of a basket case. It had a lot of issues. And if you remember, the first issue was that I got this thing and the mowing deck was off. It had no seat on it. Didn't take too long before we figured out that it needed a new gas tank. And that would have been a project right there. If we ordered a new gas tank, got that thing installed, got the thing up and running, gave it a service, boom, nice video right there. Well, this thing had a lot more problems than that, and we drove it around. Seemed like it had a hydro issue. We had lots of flat tire issues. Then we realized that, you know, the engine was not going to perform correctly without a new carburetor. Put a new carburetor on it, figured out the engine problems, finally gave it a service, and the engine running issues were done. But when I gave it a real full test by mowing the lawn, we realized that that hydrostatic transmission was pretty weak, especially as it heated up. Luckily, I had the same exact transmission in my storage shed, put a new transmission in, topped off the hydro oil, and that thing performs flawlessly. We did a bunch of mowing down by the creek, did the major hill climb, which I don't do with all my tractors. I just kind of reserve them for the ones that deserve it or can do it. And that tractor can definitely do it. So we know this thing shifts perfect. I mean, like hydro, everything works perfect on that, like quick response, no lag or delay, and it does the hills even after being hot. So really happy about that. Broke a drive belt too right at the end. So I'm glad I've gone through this thing as much as I can. You know, I say it often, but like you can never really go through these things enough to make sure that they're absolutely perfect. It's a 1999. There's gonna be problems with it. Something else is gonna go wrong with it, who knows? But I feel like I've done a really good service on this. I've been as thorough as I can and replaced everything properly as you would want. And I would recommend this mower to anyone. Hopefully a friend buys it or something like that, someone who can appreciate it. I can't list this one for too much. I don't know, what do you guys think? Between $500 and $600 is probably the most you're gonna get for a 1999. I mean, it does look great, and I think that's gonna help. I don't know the hours on it because that little hour meter, it doesn't work anymore. You know, there's gonna be a million people asking me how many hours, and I'm just not gonna be able to give them an answer on that. But that's how it goes sometimes. But hopefully with a nice big engine, hydrostatic trans, beefy Craftsman tractor, I hope it does sell. So thank you guys for tuning in and enjoying this one. I had a lot of fun with this project and super glad to see how this thing turned out. So I hope you tune in. My name is Kyle. The channel's called Kyle by the Creek. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Channel's seeing some growth, and I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, for commenting, for subscribing. So we'll see you on the next one. See ya.